All right. Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all glory, honor, and praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. It's the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit in whom we praise. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of Great Millstone who rule all over the flock. I want to say shalom to all you Akim out here that's pushing the words of truth and sincerity. Shalom to all the elect Akim, Aqua, scattered Israelites, Israelite foreigners. Who brought this out, this video was edifying. It's myself, Rapal Mouth, along with the brother.
Yeshaya.
Okay, and the topic today is the lost art of chastity. How ancient brides prioritized the marriage and family over modern ambitions. Abu we do. It's an edifying lesson. Right off the bat, what we have is a video that just goes into and expounds on the idea of what ancient marriages were. All right. Marriages is everything, pretty much the backbone of any nation, any tribe, any people. Um, all the support you need is supposed to be in the companionship you need. It's supposed to be found in a marriage, finances in a marriage should be sacred. All right, as far as you having children and rearing them up so that they could grow and thrive in the right, loving and supporting way and have that foundation of a family. Well, that's also, you know, emphasized and made possible by a good marriage, right? When you have a supportive marriage, if that builds a foundation for the children to grow. The scriptures always go through the rights of a man versus the rights of a woman. It goes through um, the duties of man versus the duties of woman. It is very specific um, restrictions of a woman, um, rules of engagement, so to speak, for a marriage. It's all there. The marriage is actually, again, it's like the backbone of a society because society is made up of multiple marriages and multiple families. All right. And now we happen to be in a different time and a different age, in which society is kind of showing its weakening phase and its destruction. Mainly, if you recognize what's going on between the man and woman or marriages, they're at an all-time high of divorce rates. As a matter of fact, there's plenty of articles out there that'll tell you that but by the time 2030 hits, it's been um it's been studied that marriage for the first time there will be more single people above the age of 30 than married people for the first time in history. So you can give Esau Edom a round of applause for that because he's the one illustrating and orchestrating this whole movement of people not becoming married or not really the degradation of the union that the Most High blessed as a sacred and solemn, um, and the significance that it had, the spiritual significance that it had. Even when you go through learning about Yahweh Shah and learning about the Israelites and learning about Yahweh the Father, you can't help but come across scriptures that reference marriage, that reference a bond, that references a union. And so, again, this topic was done not too long ago, I believe last week, within the last week, but it had to be done again. It had to be touched on again just because the references throughout the scriptures are so heavy concerning the time of union and the marriage to come. So you have to be able to go back and see, well, what was the significance of a marriage? What was the purpose of marriage? But more importantly, what is the future uh, of this marriage between Yahweh, Yahweh Shah and the Israelites? So we're gonna go ahead and get into that. I brought this out. We're gonna do a good job. Now we got this video, pulling it up right now. And this is Edomite basically speaking on ancient Jewish wedding customs, a different video than the one I had last time. But if you can, I think you are at, let me see, you're at 3:18. Just go to 3 minutes in exact, and we're gonna start from there. So the Edomite pastor, whoever he is, he's going into the customs and traditions of weddings, and we'll illustrate to the best of our ability how that relates to us during this time. All right. So the brothers got it at 3 minute mark. We're gonna go ahead and play that and listen in.
Thing that solidified me for good, for life, forever, that the pre-tribulational rapture is the timing of the rapture and that it is real. Once the groom has picked out his bride, he leaves his father's house and he goes to the bride's house. He offers the bride a marriage covenant. This is a legally binding contract. It is usually in writing, and it gives promises to what he plans on doing for the bride should she marry him. The bride can decide to accept or reject this offer. Bread and wine are served. There is a silver chalice which the groom drinks wine. If the bride decides she will accept, he gives her the chalice and she can either drink to accept or decline to drink, and that lets the groom know that he has not been accepted and that there is no wedding covenant. Now, once the bride and groom have both drinking from the wine and she's agreed to marry him, the groom then pays the price for his bride. Once this is done, the groom then departs to his father's house where he goes to build a room addition. It actually becomes the wedding chamber. Now, this normally takes about a year. The groom is absent, and the bride is then set apart. She puts on a veil. She lets other men know that she has already found her love, that she is going to remain faithful to her groom who is absent. Now, the father is the one who is in charge of approving this room addition. So even though the groom is at the father's house and he is preparing a place for his bride, the father is the only one who can approve this room addition. So the father is the only one who knows the day and hour that the son is going to be able to return to get his bride. Once the father approves of this room addition, the groom goes back to retrieve his bride. The wedding party has a torchlight procession to the bride's home. This is normally done at night, which is why it's referred to as a torchlight procession. It's normally a surprise event because no one other than the father knew until the son starts going back to retrieve his bride. Along the way, he picks up his groomsmen, and along the way, the bridesmaids who still have oil in their lamps help to light the way back to the bride's house. And the groomsmen literally are shouting, "Behold, the bridegroom comes to receive his bride." And they blow a shofar, a ram's horn, that is the trumpet of their day, was the shofar, the ram's horn. So you have the groomsmen with a shout, the groomsmen blowing the trumpet, and the groomsmen get to the bride's house. The bridegroom himself does not go all the way to the house. The bride comes out of the house. The groomsmen then lift the bride in the air above their shoulders and carry her to the groom. Sometimes even she's even placed in a chair and lifted above their heads and carried to the groom. They get to the groom, they bring her down and give her to the groom. Then the bride and groom go back to the father's house. Once the bride and groom get to the father's house, they enter the wedding chamber alone. They enter into a physical union and they consummate this marriage for 7 days. They consummate and celebrate. The other attendees and wedding party wait outside and do their own celebrating for those 7 days, waiting for an announcement that a marriage in Israel has happened. The bride and groom then come out of the wedding chamber at the end of the 7 days. The groom then removes the bride's veil so that all can clearly see who his bride really is. Then they have the wedding feast for the entire wedding party and invited guests. Once this is complete, that is normally another 7 day period. Then the bride and groom will live together in their new home forever. Okay, is that cool or what? Right away, you should be noticing all kinds of symbolic
All
parallels,
right, you can mute it
and this
right
should all
there.
be
I mean,
very familiar sounding.
pause it and then go back to
To
that
me,
list he had, and then from that list, we just gonna go ahead and reference a few points. Yeah, anywhere on that list is good.
Come. Oh, shit. Come. It's locking.
Hmm.
binding.
You can pause it. Yep. So, all right. So you got a few steps as far as a marriage go in an ancient world, ancient customs. This is ancient style. Okay. This is a style before the time of now. This is how it really is supposed to be. This is how it felt. All right. It's a different vibe. You got to fully, you were fully engaged. There wasn't as many distractions. It wasn't, you could see it was a serious event. Money was exchanged. It says the groom leaves the father's house, so you have your family members very much involved. The father's very much involved. It's not like you escape off to a small region of the world, elope, and then never to see your parents again or something. Nah, this is different. This is where everything is structured. Your family is very much understanding what's happening. The customs is there. All right, not like not similar to what you have today. Okay. You have a society now that's decaying. This is the worst time to try to, um, match the text to what's going on today in the world. The only thing that matches up in the scriptures is, um, the love of many waxing cold, the destruction being at hand, the Lord's return being at hand, so forth and so on. But what's happening is we are basically in phase, let's say 6, 7, and 8 of this list as concerning where we are in this time waiting for um the bridegroom to return. Again, this was a actual marriage situation between a man and a woman, but now it's rendered into um the time we in now where Israel is likened to a woman. Now there's a script. Where is that? Isaiah
Come on, I get it for you.
Abakashah, right? Because in the full understanding of what the scriptures is painting is the idea that we are the woman now. Okay, now groom leaves the father's house. Marriage covenant offered. You know when the marriage covenant was offered? When Yahweh was up on that cross and crucified. Right now, that covers the sins of the elect. That basically purchased us. A lot of times you hear about this the purchasing or redemption. To redeem means to buy back. We were bought with a price, the scriptures say. You got what you have?
God, this is Jeremiah 6:2. It says, I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman.
Yep. So there we are. Is there more to that?
La, that's
So
it.
who's likening to the whole daughter of Zion, the Israelites, and the right Zion to Zion in the Hebrew, which means monument. The Lord's monument was the nation of Israel. Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, so-called, you Israelites. Well, you're his monument, meaning um, you're his people. He likened unto you unto a woman. Okay, it says just a woman, or it say delicate woman.
God, delicate woman.
A delicate woman. Grab now let me read on before you grab some up. This is so part 3 says bread and wine seal the covenant, right? And that's the Passover. You know, what do we do at the time of the Passover? We eat the bread and drink the wine, right? He said, this is my blood and this is my, so we drank of Yahweh shot. Well, that was a sealing of the covenant right there. All right. All faith in Yahweh Shai. You don't just do the Passover because you Christian. You do the Passover because you believe that through the Spirit, Yahweh Shai is your savior and your deliverer in times and when all hell breaks loose. Leading up to prophecy, leading up to Third World's War. We gonna need him. He gonna have to return and get his bride before destruction comes. Right? So we eagerly awaiting. It says part 4, groom pays the price for his bride. Now that's going into that whole idea of redemption. All right, and the scriptures tell you that redemption draw of nine. Right, so of course Israel is those people that the Lord redeemed. Right, He redeemed us during the time of Pharaoh. He redeemed us during the time of during the Romans, and He redeeming us now. Modern day Romans, He gonna redeem us from the hand of our enemies. We be being bought back as a nation. Right. Remember the scripture said, no, and no man, you should be sold unto your enemies, and no man shall buy you. Well, Yahweh Shai, he say he's not gonna meet thee as a man. Yahweh Shai has bought us with a price. Um, the groom pays the price for the bride. So that's that dowry. Understanding that in the ancient customs, the woman was worth a certain price. These days, you say, what are they worth? They're not worth the price that they used to be worth. You know. And by the way, this bride, more, she was a virgin, hands down. Let's go on. Groom departs to the father's house and builds bridal chamber. Did not Yahweh shall say, I go to prepare a place for you? All right. In my father's house are many mansions. Why is he talking about these mansions? Because this is where he's going to take his bride back. This is where Israel gets to be taken back to. That's the bridal chambers, these many mansions. It says the groom is absent. For part 6, the groom is absent. The bride must remain faithful. Right? Do we have anything on that out?
If I can, I get something.
Con. I
In
know this
fact,
to tell you. Matter of fact, 2 Corinthians 11:2. And you go ahead and grab what you got. I'm gonna grab this. 2 Corinthians 11:2 says, For I am jealous over you with a godly jealousy. I have espoused you to one husband. Right? And we dealing with the whole espousal process right now. This is what we're referencing. Why did the Father say he espoused us? Are we women? Yes, we are Israel. The whole nation is the woman of Yahweh Shah. The word espoused or espousal in the Greek is harmozo. It says to join, to fit together. It says to betroth a daughter to anyone. Now you're dealing with ancient customs. Guess what? You can save your daughter in the scriptures for a specific man. You can save your daughter. And that way you might have made the deal before your daughter even was of age to be married, that she was already espoused. Well, Israel has become joined together with Yahushua, right? We've already made a spouse. It says to join oneself, i.e., to marry the daughter of anyone. to give one in marriage to anyone. So Israel has been espoused, going back to that precept, 1 Corinthians 11:2. For I am jealous over you with a godly jealousy. You don't get jealous over somebody unless, as a man gets jealous over a woman, that's the jealousy that the Father has over his people Israel. And we get jealous over women. Some in this world, in this bugged out world, they're gonna say, well, that's a female trait, jealousy. They're gonna say,
Hmm.
well, you got what's the word they say now? You know, you got something wrong with you. I forget the word.
Far as like jealousy,
Yeah, it's jealous when you
insecurity, like insecure, is that the one you
yeah,
looking for?
oh, brother, that was a word. That's the word. You insecure to be jealous. Well, we reading right out the scriptures. The Most High said, "For I am jealous over you with a godly jealousy." It's a godly jealousy. It's not that stuff you used to. It says, "For I have espoused you to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to Yahweh Shah." What you got at?
Yeah, real quick to back you up. This Exodus 34, verse 14. It says, "For thou shalt worship no other power, for the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Shai, whose name is jealous, is a jealous power."
Break that down.
Yep, and just to back the elder up, which it's mentioned often throughout the scriptures how the Lord is a jealous power, man. Just going back, hey, that's the trait of Yahweh Shemi Shai, man. We belong unto him, and your woman is an example, of how the Lord feels. Just like you want your woman to belong unto you, that's how the Lord sees Israel, man. He don't want you seeking no other power, man. And again, likewise, on down to like even your woman, man. You wouldn't want her seeking no other man. Scriptures speak about how jealousy is the rage of a man, and in the
Mm,
day of vengeance, who would he spare, man?
mm,
That shit like that'll make you crash out. So
mm.
that's why through this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, we understand why the Lord is getting ready to come back, and he spared none, man.
Yeah.
Only those who seeking him and who remain faithful. But just to back the elder up, you got it, elder.
Right. And that word chase, since the title is the lost art of chastity. See, we gotta remain chaste as a nation. To hell with it being a lost art. Sometimes you gotta dig for the lost arts. Sometimes you gotta dig for the lost things. The lost things gotta be found. Hey, we're in the day where the Yahweh Shah said, Israel is a go to them that are lost, right? Go to them that are needed of a physician. So it ain't just that you was already good. We in a situation where we need a savior. And that marriage, come to find out, that covenant was already offered. That dowry was already paid by his blood. So we already in steps 6 through 8. Here it is. So the lost art of chastity has to be found in us. When you go into that word, chaste in the Greek is hagnos. Strong's G53, hagnos. And it says pure, clear. Clear
Mhm.
from what? Clear from all infidelity, clear from anything that will mark you as dirty, right? The false ideologies, man. Idols, idolatry. Clear from doing whatever you wanted to do. Instead, you're as a woman supposed to, that will make her man happy. She's tending to the man. That's why the title, How Ancient Brides Prioritized Marriage and Family Over Modern Ambition. And the way they prioritize marriage is by prioritizing the bridegroom. He was priority. They go on to say, as far as the definition for chaste, it says figuratively innocent, modest, and perfect. Then it says pure from carnality. Okay? So pureness is what the Lord is looking for from carnality. Paul said to the church at Corinth, he said, look, I can't speak to you as spiritual, but I got to speak to you as carnal. because there's still dissension amongst you. You're still fighting and arguing amongst each other. You don't have that union, that union that Yahushua calls for. You don't have that harmony amongst each other. And then the scripture in John tells you that if a man doesn't love, he can't love Yahweh except he love his brother. If he doesn't love his brother, he doesn't love the Father. There's a union. There's a certain chaste way to be. There's a certain um, pureness from carnality, and we all have to seek it. Why? Because we all came from carnality this time. Remember, we weren't the bride that knew from birth that she was ready to be married. Married. Well, that's the bride that took every moment serious. We were the brides instead that learned about halfway through our life that we can still be married. Like the Lord will still receive us. Remember how it goes into how all these people were bid to the marriage, except some didn't start. The ones that were bid first didn't come. So then now he started bidding anybody. He sent his servants out. The king sent his servants out to go and bid anyone to the marriage, whoever will come. So that's what we are. We're likened unto those who came, who showed up to be bidden to this marriage. So now we take it very seriously as you're supposed to. Part 6 says the groom is absent, the bride must remain faithful. That's what chastity is, pure from carnality. It says, part 7, father must inspect and improve of room addition. Right, that's what the Most High is doing up there with Yahushua. Groom goes to retrieve his bride. This is why Yahushua actually speaks to us like we women. You know, when the scripture tells you, Revelation, grab from me by Bakashah. Let me see. Where the Lord said, I come quickly.
You want the one in 22 or
Yeah, that one too. Grab that one if you know where it's at. One says just I come quickly.
okay.
Mhm. And what you could do is before you get that now, before you get that, let's show where why you have to learn about why chastity is a lost art. Can you go roll the next video, Babaka Shah? Why is chastity a lost art? Well, you have to reference modern times, right? How ancient brides prioritize marriage and family over modern ambitions. Let's check out modern brides.
Every generation has a moment where they come just to have some fun.
Atlanta is the mecca for black people in America.
It has multiple historically black colleges.
In the 80s,
We said, let's plan a picnic during spring break.
let's call it Freaknik.
Freaknik was the greatest black gathering in America.
It was like an entry point into the black cultural experience.
To be able to be in the middle of the street, dancing, laughing, playing your music, it's a moment. The interstate, the highway, was a street party.
There wasn't even a word called twerking. It was called booty shaking.
They weren't no social media, barely had internet.
During Freaknik, stars start coming in. You would see Tupac, Goody Mob, Outkast, Usher Raymond. I don't know what heaven looks like, but this seems like a version of it.
You was lit, okay?
The legacy of Freaknik is black joy, black self-determination,
Black love, black excellence, black enterprise.
but the legacy of Freaknik is also the ugly side.
It started to get a lot more out of control. People were coming by the masses.
What the hell just happened? If you tried to bring back Freaknik, it wouldn't be what it was.
The streets, the people, the debauchery.
The things that I saw, insane.
We had no inclination to the depth we were creating.
Them kids ain't know nothing about Freaknik.
good on
Trust
that.
me, your mom and daddy got that.
Now go ahead, Babak. You know, that was the Freaknik movie. Go ahead, Babak Shah, bring up Blue Letter.
God.
Yeah, you can close that one down. And so what we learned about that is modern ambitions, even for 2024, you know, they was cultivated here in Babylon. Babylon America has designed Eve to really, you know, it was designed to frustrate the plans of stability and any security that you will find um, from a marriage. From is really here to stop your growth. Babylon has been a plague for our people. When you really just sit down and reference the ancient versus the modern, what this place has been is a you know, it stops. It retards your growth. It retards your spiritual growth. It retards um you know, any type of building of a family. You just can't have it here. You know, that was just one documentary, and I started this. You know, this topic came because I started to watch that documentary, and I'm about halfway through, maybe. And I just see how basically anything less than the marriage to Yahushua or us getting out of here is just going to go into something heinous, heathenistic, and destructive. You can't have good here in Babylon. You just can't have it. You got Blue Letter pulled up out.
God, so like, if I may, Baba Shah, I got want to back you up real quick.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah, this Jeremiah 3:20. It says,
Mhm.
surely as a wife treacherously departed from her husband, so have ye dealt treacherously with me, O house of Israel, said the Lord Yahweh Shabbat Shah.
Go ahead, break it down.
And and that documentary right there just proves, basically this precept on how, basically the fallen of Israel, how that we done failed so far away. We once was that bride, being prepared for the Lord, then we fell away. Now look at us. We dealing treacherously with the Lord, man. We dealing with these other philosophies. Many of our people really are spiritual whores, man. But that's basically it.
Yeah, spiritual whores, man. And what's a man do with a whore? He don't think about marriage. See, we need the marriage. If it was just that you could be out here doing what you want to do and the Lord would still take you as you are for real, we wouldn't have this conversation. We'd be wasting our times because we'd be out there doing what we want to do. If you were still going to deal with the whore, even though no matter how much of a whore she was, Jake, if you were still going to marry the whore, you wouldn't. It wouldn't matter that she out in these streets or she for the streets. It wouldn't matter. But never in history has the male not cared about the body count, not cared about if she's loyal, if she's faithful, is she gonna be there, is she gonna be supportive, do she care for you, is she really there for you? How many songs have been made about Jake just asking the question, are you there for me for real when I need you? Are you a lifelong partner? Are you here for a long time or just a good time? And so the society celebrates the idea that women could just be here for a good time. She don't got to be there for a long time. Well, that leaves the case that there are no more wives. Nobody's worth marrying no more. There ain't no wifey material out here. What's left is the hoes. All right. And so here we go again. But now Jake, here it is. We trying to be married into Yahushua. When that time comes and Yahushua establishes that, he calls back all those who kept those lamps trimmed, Matthew 25, and were ready for the bidding of the marriage, and we're waiting upon, like as a woman did in the ancient world, she waited upon her husband who she was betrothed to come back and return, so that marriage can be consummated through sex. That's what the elect is doing. We waiting, right? Grab 1 Corinthians 7 and 20 out. About the shot. I'm gonna pull it up like this.
It's the book of First Corinthians, chapter 7 and verse 20.
And I want you to read it in the NLT.
Come on. in the NLT version, it says, yes, each of you should remain as you were when Yahweh called you. Are you a slave? Don't let that worry you. But if you get a chance to be free, take it. And remember, if you were a slave when the Lord called you, you are now free in the Lord. And if you were free when the Lord called you, you are now a slave of Hamashiach.
Yeah. What are we slaves, man? Once enslaved to the world, free from the world, but we all servants of Yahweh Shah now. So you got to do as that just gives you the command that you should be doing accordance to somebody who is a slave. When you are a slave, you can't just do what you want to do. You have obligations, and it says you were a slave. But read on.
Yep. It says Yahweh Bashem Shah paid a high price for you.
Hold
So
up.
no.
So here it is. The payment was already paid, man. And then it says a high price. How you find yourself doing what you want to do and the price was paid for you? Imagine you paid a dowry. Imagine that dowry in the ancient world. You just came off of 20, 40 shekels, whatever the dowry price is, right? Depending on what the father wants for the, right? And you go back to prepare your place and then you come back and she's been given away to another man. You are furious. You even more furious than for her than you are, about the money. You really want to take it out on her. You really want to take it out on the father. You want to take it out on all of them. So this is the seriousness of the situation. You now find yourself the price already been paid for you, sir, ma'am. Price already been paid. You got to act right. You got to wait now. Go ahead.
So don't be enslaved by the world. Each of you, dear brothers and sisters.
Yeah, that basically don't be enslaved by the world. Basically, stop being for the streets. That's how you would tell a woman who's had her dowry paid. This is why it all correlates to ancient world marriage. If you can't understand that a wife was a wife was property, and she was bought from the father, and in that price made her now the possession of the man. If you can't understand that, this truth ain't for you. Go back to Disneyland. Go back to watching Teletubbies. I don't know, book you a trip to a vacation somewhere. You in the wrong spot. Because the woman was property and has been property. The scriptures tell you that he that getteth a wife getteth a possession. To possess something means you own it. That's ownership. The father owned the wife and then the daughter, and then he would pass her on for a price to the husband. The Lord said, you have already been bought with a price. Don't go back to this world and be enslaved by the world again. I already freed you from that. We already been there. Remember when you used to be a part of the world? I freed you from it. Why you still acting like you in the world? Go on.
Should remain as ye were when Yahweh Bashem Shah first called you.
Read on.
Now, regarding your question about the young women who are not yet married, I do not have a command from the Lord for them, but the Lord in his mercy has given me wisdom that can be trusted, and I will share it with you.
There go that good wisdom. Let's read.
Because of the present crisis, I think it is best to remain as you are.
Crisis. It's a present crisis going on right now. Right? That's what that Freak Nick documentary was presenting to us. But go on.
If you have a wife, do not seek to end the marriage. If you do not have a wife, do not seek to get married.
Right.
But if you do get married, it is not a sin. And if a young woman gets married, it is not a sin. However, those who get married at this time will have troubles, and I am trying to spare you those problems.
Now there's a section in here that says if you have a daughter and how you should deal with her. And I'm looking for it. Bear with me. Speak for a second. I'm gonna go ahead and find it.
Yep. But yep, just to back the elder up, man, this is the time that we're in as well. If I may, I'm gonna read that one more time.
Hmm.
Salakia. Let's see what was that. If you have a verse 27, First Corinthians 7 and verse 27. If ye have a wife, do not seek to end the marriage. If you do not have a wife, do not seek to get married. But if you do get married, it is not a sin. And if a young woman gets married, it is not a sin. However, those who get married at this time will have troubles. And I am trying to spare you those problems. And that's just the spirit, man. Because our main thing is to be kept from the world, you know. And of course, everybody is not in that mindset of being married and joined until you have a shot martial, man. So it's only just the spirit even going in with this, basically, thou, as it says, thou don't have a wife, seek not a wife. At the end of the day, it's just wisdom, man. Let me see if I can continue on that.
Yeah, I'm not finding it. You know what? But it goes into how a father basically, if he can, um, have control over his daughter, and if he doesn't marry her, if he marries her, it's a good thing. But if he even holds back her marriage, it's okay as long as he could stop her from being, um, basically a whore. So what ends up happening is it becomes the father's job and obligation to make sure that his daughter won't be out here um becoming profaned, man. All right. And
It's like you don't know if it's an apocrypha or not, do you, Elder?
man, I mean, I was looking at it just now. I know Ecclesiastes popped up. Ecclesiasticus, matter of fact, read Sirach 7 and 25.
This is the book of Sirach.
Start at 23.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 7 and verse 23, and it says, "Yep, has thou children instruct them, bow down their neck from their youth. Has thou daughters have a care of their body, and show not thyself cheerful toward them. Marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter, but give her to a man of understanding."
Hmm. And so that was a very important thing because now you're dealing with your future generations, man. So also what goes into that is the idea that go back to Corinthians 7 and verse 7. This might be it. Or 6.
7 and 7. Yep, this is on the book of First Corinthians, chapter 7 and verse 7. It says, "But I wish everyone were single, just as I am. Yet each person has a special gift from Yahweh Bashim Shah of one kind or another."
I'll read on.
Yep. It
You
says,
go back to KJV.
okay, Khan. It says, oh, yep, First Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 8. It says, "I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide even as I, but if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn."
It's better than married than to burn. And that NLT, it describes that, as what did it say for burn in NLT?
Let me see, what is that? It's
Verse
like
9.
I think, yeah, married then to burn with lust. Yeah.
Okay, burn with lust, right? In the other version it says burn with sexual desire. So, what's referring to is that there come a time in woman, right? Natural between a woman, yeah, marry that daughter, con the what I. There be a time when naturally when you got a daughter, and what's going to happen is she going to become ready to, what's the word? She becomes like or hormones, right?
Mhm.
She's ready for sex, basically.
Like
And
puberty.
yeah,
Mhm.
puberty happens, right? And she's ready, she becomes ready, like them hormones start kicking off, and now she's ready. And what happens is it becomes now a job and an obligation to keep your daughter off the streets or off the pole, so to speak. And now, the scripture says if you can marry her, but if you can't, um, if you can't, you got to basically watch over her like a hawk. So, long story short is, the idea is, that chastity is very important, and that's why it's a lost art. When you kick the fathers out the crib, what you did was you kicked out that idea of chastity and how to remain chaste, because it wasn't the mother's duty necessarily to make sure that her daughter was chaste. It was the father's job, right? And that was a job that he didn't have to do. The easiest way was to marry her off, right? Now she's betrothed. All she got to do is wait for her husband. And then you don't have to worry about this idea of keeping her chaste. You don't have to worry about this odd after marriage, after she's married, you don't have to worry about her like that no more. You don't have to go on and make sure that she who you been with and follow her around and make sure that she's where she's supposed to be. Even though her hormones is basically kicking in overdrive and she's ready to she's burning, right? And it's not a sin for her to go ahead and get married, right? And that's what happened with Joseph and Mary. She was burning. They both was burning, and they just didn't wait for that ceremony. Um, yeah. Brother brought out a precept here. Let me start from the top. This is Ecclesiasticus or Sirach 42:9. It says, "The father waketh for the daughter when no man knoweth, and the care for her taketh away sleep."
Mm.
A beautiful one, right? Why is he can't sleep? Because he can't for her. Because he got to make sure that she where she supposed to be at. That's the seriousness involved with this whole idea of chastity. A woman's supposed to be chaste. That's why it's a lost art. That's why we brought out that documentary of Freaknik. What Freaknik was basically what it sounded like. It was a time for these young women who would become a marriageable age, right? Who might still have their virginity. A lot of them was in college students. So they would go off, and when a woman gets the opportunity to become married overnight, she'll do it.
Mm.
When she gets the opportunity to lose her flowers, she gonna do it. Hell, this might be the one I was looking for. It says, "The father waketh for the daughter when no man knoweth, and the care for her taketh away sleep. When she is young, lest she pass away from the flower of her age and being married," which means the flower of her age being puberty, uh, lest she be hated. When she is young. So this is dealing with a young woman. A lot of you old birds, you get on here and you have something to say. What we mainly referring to as far as the scriptures go, you dealt with women, you got them while they was young because that's when they still had their virginity and they passed the flower of their age. They was past the flower of their age, and it was a marriageable age. When you look at the word virginity up, it means a woman of virgin means a woman of marriageable age. So she was past the flower of her age, mean past puberty, but marriageable. And so now if she would be they would be hated if she went ahead and got popped by a random dude. And what do you have now? By the time a woman is 18, I believe I did showing it long ago. By the time she 18, which is the age of consent here in America, over 50% to 80% of women already been popped. So by the time you about to marry her or you deal with her for the first time, she already been dealt with. That's just Babylon right there. That's what you got to deal with. It wasn't like that in the ancient world. All right, Sirach 42:10 says, "In her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house, and having a husband, lest she should misbehave herself, and when she is married." And the brother just brought out the Freaknik documentary is out, man. Go watch what happens when your young daughter, I don't care how good you raised her, when she gets some leeway,
Oh,
when she
sir.
gets time. Go watch what happens when you let go of them that force field that you had around her. Yeah, you the austere dad with the shotgun. But as soon as she went to Clark, as soon as she got over there to Atlanta, as soon as she go on that girl's trip, as soon as she come back from Jamaica, as soon as she touched down in Las Vegas, The scripture says, in her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house. And then they come home with random kids. You watch Maury, you watch these shows, Divorce Court. You see these women don't know who their baby daddies is. That's a normal thing here in Babylon. It says, in having a husband, lest she should misbehave herself, and when she is married, lest she should be barren. It goes on. Keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter, lest she make thee a laughing stock to thine enemies. Now, if the father ain't around, who's to be a laughing stock? Right? Who's to be a laughing stock? They said, look, the dad got plausible deniability. Shit, I wasn't in that house the whole time. The mom was tripping. She ain't let me see the dad. She ain't let me see the kids. And how come the mom had that obligation? Because they ain't raised the same. There's a lost art of chastity in this world. In this time we in, it's a lost art. We had to go back in time to understand how ancient brides prioritized family and marriage over modern ambition. These women is ambitious. I had a woman tell me straight in my face, if I don't get no man by the time I'm 20, well, she said 30, I'm freezing my eggs and I'm just gonna be a single mom when I'm ready. This is the scriptures say, keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter, lest she make thee a laughing stock to thine enemies, and a byword in the city, and a reproach among the people, and make thee ashamed before the multitude. This is what a shameless woman would bring to you back in the day. If he was a father of a shameless woman, she'd bring that to you. Now, how much more in this day and age are we supposed to be moderate in the things we do, remaining chaste for Yahweh Shah? How much more are we supposed to be subject to whatever the will of the Lord is in this day? Give me Leviticus 8 and 14. Now we can see the importance of what the scriptures is revealing to us about how we are supposed to be and how the development phases of us are supposed to be. Yes, the Father's not here present with us in person. Yes, Yahweh Shah is not here in person. The bridegroom is still off preparing the way for us. But as chaste virgins and as brides, we're supposed to remain ready, waiting, and chaste the entire time. Imagine what happens today when you get a wife and then you about to marry her, and then y'all have the marriage. Ain't they got something called the bridal? What they call that out the day before the ceremony? The,
Um, the bachelor party.
uh-oh, not the bachelor, not the bachelorette party. Because she equal. Remember, these women got to be equal with their men. So the man got a bachelor. Guess what? She got the bachelorette party. What's she doing on the bachelorette party? She's sinning. She ain't winning.
Yeah.
Nah, but go ahead, bro. Go ahead with that preset.
What was the Leviticus one more time?
All right. Yes, lock it. Leviticus 18 and 7.
18.
18 and 4.
So like I gotta want to back you up too, Elder.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this Sirach 26 and 10. It says, if thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty.
Sheesh. For the streets. You see, over much liberty. Hey, a bachelorette party is liberty, man. Ain't no way you gonna go defile yourself before. Man, the whole thing is out of whack. That's why it's a lost art of chastity, man. This whole thing about marriage, it's all out of whack. You got to be out your damn mind, bro, to pull the trigger on that. You got to be out your mind. You ain't watched enough TV yet. You ain't been outside. You ain't stepped outside your bubble. You don't see how Eve get down, man. They ain't out here with chastity, man. They ain't out here looking to be chaste, man. But you, as an Israelite, returning back to Yahweh Shah, we got to remain chaste. We got to understand what being chaste is about. You got to do better than the Eve you trying to slay out here. You got to do better.
Yep, this Leviticus 18 and verse 4, it says, ye shall do my judgments and keep my ordinances to walk therein. I am.
That's what the Lord constructed. Just like the brother just read, don't give her too much liberty. It's liberty for Eve that caused her to make you a laughing stock. It's when you give her liberty. Yeah, go ahead. You can go on that trip. It's liberty when that the dad didn't give her in order for her to be remain chaste and remain a virgin, untouched, ready for the husband or have a husband in the first place. The reason why a lot of the Eves don't got no husband is because they wasn't even it wasn't even trained up that or reared up with the idea that a husband was necessary. And therefore, she ain't gonna behave herself no type of way. Behave. Ask Eve to behave herself. See what comes out of her mouth next. The Most High required that we behave ourselves, man, and we couldn't do it right. That's why we coming back to Him defiled. But through the washing of the Word, we be made clean. Now we can get washed up. And then what happens to a bride when she gets made ready for the ceremony? She gets washed up. She gets clean. She gets soaked in them oils. Is it you right? We getting soaked in the oil. This word is the oil. Go ahead, Al.
It says, I am the Lord, Yahweh Shai, your power. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord, Yahweh Shai.
Get Deuteronomy 4:30.
Just the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4.
Most High already set ordinances out for us to behave. Why? Why do we have to walk a thin line? Because we like a woman who has seeked other rock. You see, we've been an untamed woman. We've been an uncontrollable woman in the eyes of the Yahweh, the Father who created us. We started serving other nations, idols, nations, gods. We was doing abominations, behaving like the heathen that are round about us, going off. We became, as the brother mentioned earlier, whores in the eyes of the Lord. Now the Lord is asking us to be washed up and made clean. Now we can see it in full spectrum why it's important to understand what it means to be chaste. Go ahead, Al.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, and verse 30. When thou art in tribulation, and all these things are come upon thee, even in the latter days, if thou turn to the Lord, Yahweh shall thy power, and shall be obedient unto his voice. For the Lord, Yahweh shall thy power, is a merciful power. He will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant of thy fathers, which he swore unto them.
That's it. So the Most High basically saying, look, I'm going to take care of you. Don't he speak to us like we a woman? He been doing that the whole time throughout the scriptures. I'm going to take care of you. When you need me, I'm going to be there for you. You just clean up your ways. And that's what you would tell a woman, man, who acting out. If you had a lot of love for her, let's say that you did have love for the woman, for Eve that's playing the harlot, as the Most High did. He had, who is it, Hosea the prophet, have a, to symbolize. He had him married a harlot. But what happens when you love a harlot? If she don't clean up herself, you don't deal with her no more. Grab Deuteronomy 28 and 56 out, just to prove a point.
God, just the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 56. And Deuteronomy 28 and verse 56. And it says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which will not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground, for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter.
Right. Well, the scriptures say you basically the woman would turn against you, the son and the daughter. Well, that's what's the process of what happens when the nation falls to the curses and the plagues that the Most High sent upon us. Now, notice that at one point in time, the woman was tender and she was delicate and she wouldn't even touch the sole of her foot to the ground. They had a reference point to the ancient world marriage where at some point the woman would be taken from her home when the bridegroom showed up and she would be lifted up in the air. That sounds oddly familiar. How the bridegroom the brides this time is going to be lifted up in the air to join with Yahweh Shah. But in the ancient world, she'd be lifted up in the air. Her foot wouldn't touch the ground until she came to the husband. You see that? That's a reference right there. And so Yahushua, you know, he needs to see us as nothing but tender and delicate when he return. All right. Go to Proverbs 20, Slock at Proverbs 4 and 25. Babakasha.
God, this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 25. And it says, let thy eyes look right on, let thy eyelids look straight before thee. Ponder the path of Slack.
Yeah. And what would you they got a saying amongst Judah mainly, like, or some of the tribes, when it comes to a woman, she either wonton, and she looking all around, and she, if your woman look at another dude, it's amongst all the tribes, really. That's a sign, like, she ain't ready, bro. She for the streets still. You got somebody else even making eye contact with you, laser focus eye contact with you. That's a no. Well, the Lord is also telling us, just like, you see how it's y'all speaking as Solomon. He telling us, man, let your thine eyes look right on, let thine eyes look straight before thee. Right? What type of That's a jealous power talking like that. You can see and understand that your focus should be on Yahushua continually, always. Your focus should be on the hour, and no man knoweth when is the time, but you're prepared for it, you're ready for it. Grab Matthew 6 and 24. All about preparation, but it's all about doing, pleasing the bridegroom. Scripture says, kiss the son. You gotta please the bridegroom. That's a chaste mindset. That's a chaste mind frame. Pleasing the bridegroom. What's pleasing to Yahushua? Well, he said, feed my sheep. We're gonna do that. Well, he said, um, wait for me. Can you not just wait it for an hour? He told Peter. So you need to wait. You need to have patience so that when he returns, and then you got to make sure that you morally right, you chaste in the spirit, meaning you pure from carnality. We ain't out here serving idols in the lust of the flesh and lust of the eyes, and we ain't out here selling out. Go ahead, Al.
Yep, Matthew 6 and verse 24. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other.
Well, yeah. So you can't be out here serving all. That's why your eyes got to be looking at the right master. See, your eyes got to be focused. Grab First Thessalonians 4 and 3. I'll probably end it there.
You want to continue or?
No, that's it. Thessalonians 4 and 3. Yeah, you gotta pertain to the things that pleases your master. Who else gonna be mad at you? Is you serving too, right? In this world, they say you your own God. In this world, they say you can do what you want to do. Well, we as slaves, we read that earlier in Corinthians. We as slaves see how shop. All right, we was bought with a price. No, we not. We servants of Yahweh Bashim Shop. And so we gotta please him. We gotta do what the masters say to do. Right? Because when all these blessings is being given out, therefore you ain't gonna be able to partake in none of them, because you ain't gonna be married. He gonna come back and find you defiled. And the only thing you do with a defiled woman who you already paid the price for is you eliminate her. Go ahead, Art.
Yep. This is the book of First Thessalonians, chapter 4 and verse 3. For this is the will of Yahweh Bashim Shah, even your sanctification, that ye should obtain from fornication.
Read on.
That every one of you should know how to possess his vessel in sanctification and honor.
There it is, man. Now understand that you're supposed to possess yourself in a certain way, in a certain light, with honor. All right. Right. Blessed, separated, set apart. Read verse 7.
God. It says, for Yahweh have not called us unto uncleanness, but unto holiness.
Yeah, it is. So we got to remain steadfast. We got to remain understanding that this is how he wants his brides. This is how he wants Israel. All right. We might have not came in like that, but you come into this truth to get cleaned up for the ceremony. You come in this truth to get cleaned up, not for yourself, the bridegroom. You come in this truth for your Hawashah. That's where your heart is. That's where your focus is. And if your focus ain't on it, you got to refocus. So we're going to end it there. You know, Abaratazah, this video was edifying. We're going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Hakwadash. All right. Until next time, Shalom.